Hello everyone, this hour on Verbling, the next in my great short stories series. Today we are doing an amazing short story, The Debutant by Leonore Carrington, an amazing story by an amazing artist. You have to be here and read it with us to experience the least known surrealist, but one of the wildest and most creative of them all. So it'll be a very interesting class and a very interesting story. Lots to read, experience, and to discuss because her stories are quite unusual. So before we do that, let me do a quick introduction. I'm Jon-Eric, your verbally teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal, to bring you this class. And by the way, let me open the link for you. Open this document at the link I'm providing for you right now in the chat window. And let me do a little introduction while we're waiting for some people to come in. So, I've been teaching for over 2 years here in Verbling, over 1,000 classes since February of 2013. But over the last 15 years, I've taught general English to teens, to adults, business English to major multinational companies, some of which you probably know, BP, Deloitte, Prada, BCG, Bain Capital, and a host of others, and academic classes like the IELTS, the TOEFL, and other international exam classes. So if you click the link in the window, you can follow me to see all my upcoming group classes, and you can also book a private tutoring session with me to see what a custom-tailored lesson can be like. These group classes are great fun for general practice and fluency, but serious progress comes when we create a personal learning plan together to get you to your goals as quickly and painlessly as possible. So think about doing that. That's a little introduction, and what I want to do is I want to prepare you for the story before we actually go and read. So what I'm going to do is put this stuff on the board, and I'm going to give you a few things to think about before we actually read the text. So here is the story. You can see the graphic, and you know you're in the right place when you click on that link. And let's say hello. We've got, let's see, we're still missing 7 people, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6 people, but we'll give them 1 more minute. Let me quick say hello to returning champions Sabrina and Lynn. Hello, welcome Sabrina and Lynn. Long time no see. Nice to see you. Yes.
Long time no see.
Like 4 minutes?
Seems like minutes, yes.
Wow,
and then we've got our lovely Ksenia returning. Hello, Ksenia. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Very good. We've got Laura, who still needs a haircut. Hello, Laura. How are you?
Hello. Fine, thanks.
Where have you been? I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yes, because I start working, so now I don't have too much time. So that today that is a bank holiday in Spain.
Right.
I took advance of the situation, and I'm pleased to be with you again.
Oh my goodness! Well, you've got to send me a message and tell me when you're available so that I can do the classes when you're free.
Oh yes. In that case, I'm going to write you.
But tell me, I'm here for you.
Oh, but I'm glad.
Because the advanced classes, most of the students are not advanced. So when I get advanced people, you tell me, for this kind of class, it's better that I try to schedule it when you're free because, well, I do what I can. It's a little bit too advanced for most people. That's where things get tricky. So, but let's see how this goes. I'm trying to choose stories which are a little bit easier to understand, a little bit, or at least if we work together, we can work through some of the difficult vocabulary. In the past, I was giving you some really tough stuff. I'm making it a little bit easier these days, or trying to. Let me say hello also to Mr. Savio.
Yes, yes. Hi, teacher. How are you?
Hello, Savio. And where are you from?
So I'm from Brazil. I'm Brazilian.
And where do you live in Brazil?
I live in the part of south in
Curitiba.
Santa Cat. It's near from to Curitiba. It's near. The state is called Santa Catarina.
Santa Catarina. Okay, very good.
See.
Nice to have you. Well,
Yeah, thanks.
okay, we've got a pretty good group. Oh, forgot to say hello to Jose. Welcome back, Jose. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again, John.
How do you say llave inglesa in English?
Yes. Llave inglesa, crescente range.
I wanted to test you on the vocabulary from the last class.
Yes.
Okay, but Sabrina said we can't do any more male classes. So guess what, Sabrina? This is a female class. It's a
Okay,
feminine class. Let me see. What do I want to do to start? I don't know if I have all my little activities here. I might have to say some of these and give you a link. Ooh, what's wrong with the... Shouldn't look like this. Uh-oh, hold on. Uh-oh, something's wrong with the title. Ooh, something's wrong with that. My, give me a second. Something's wrong with the layout of my page. Let me see if I can fix it. Hold on. Let's go to print view. Wow, I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, some of my formatting is a little bit off. Give me a second. I just realized that you're not supposed to see any of this stuff. Let me fix this. Okay, by the way, someone's got a really bad echo. You know what, Laura? It must be you. You're the only one who isn't muted. So I'm just going to ask you to keep your microphone off until you speak, okay? When you're ready to speak, you can turn it back on. Yeah, in the last time I did this, I wanted you to look at some words that I thought would really help understand the kind of story this is, because it's very unusual. So these words are not easy words. You might not know what they are. But I'll give you a second. Tell me if you know the meaning of the word, and if you can think of an example. The most important word of this group maybe is this word down here, this expression, which you may or may not have heard, I don't know. Okay. But let's see. Let's start with automatism. What does that mean? Big fancy word. Well, what do you think it means? Want to make a quick guess?
When you don't need to do something manual and it's possible to do all the time. They repeat. I don't know.
Manual? Okay. Can be done repeated. How about
Yes.
without, if it's a person, we'll say without thinking. You don't need to think about it. It just happens. Okay. I think that's a good definition. By the way, let's say a quick hello to Luigi. Hello, Luigi. How are you?
Hello, John. I'm fine. Thank you.
Before we read this very unusual story, I want to warm up by giving you a few ideas about what you can expect. These are all keywords that deal with a particular kind of art. Automatism, unconscious, surreal, collage, and this word, exquisite corpse, which is something you might not guess from the title, from the name of it. So we'll get to these, and I'm going to show you a few pictures as well I want you to think about. What about unconscious? What comes to mind with unconscious? What does that mean to you?
Yeah.
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
Things you can do without thinking about it.
Yeah. So, again, without thinking. Automatism is also without thinking. Both of them are. And what else comes to mind? Think about associations now. When someone talks about the unconscious, what kinds of things are we talking about? What comes to my mind is psychology. I don't know about what you think. And can you think of, if you can think of any examples, then that'll make it even easier. I'll put a few examples there for you. What about surreal? What does surreal mean?
Something unreal.
Okay. Something unreal. Absolutely. Can you think of an example of something that is surreal?
Picture by Dali.
Say again, please.
Picture, painting, writing by Dali. Painting.
By Dali.
Yeah.
Okay, Dali is unreal, surreal. I agree. We'll take a look at one or two. The last word is collage, not college. Collage. What does that mean? Collage. Does anyone know?
Yes, it's a piece of art made by various different materials.
Yeah, by joining together material.
For example, you join photographs and piece of paper or.
Yeah. Okay, good. Collage. The last one is the one which is actually second to last on the list. Exquisite corpse. Has anyone ever heard of that? And if you don't know it in English, it's because it's a French term. And the original French term is cadavre exquis. I don't know how to say it in French. It's like this in French. Someone who speaks French can help me out. Like this. Sound familiar, anyone? Or is it totally new?
Can be a dead body that looks like beautiful.
A beautiful dead body. Yeah. Well, that's the idea, but in fact, it's a game. It's a game of collage. But you know what, Lara? You're not too far off, because it was all about making something beautiful or interesting that would normally be kind of dead to us, to rejuvenate something, giving it like new ideas. And the game was all about that. Let me see if I can I should put that last, actually. Why is it not accepting the word collage? Did I spell collage wrong? Hold on a second. Crazy? Or does the spell check just not know it? Nope, the spell checker just doesn't know the word collage. Okay. So the spell checker, you are wrong. We're going to add you to the dictionary. So let's move exquisite corpse down here. Actually, you need to know collage before you know exquisite corpse. So we'll do it like that. Okay. Let's look at an example. Let's look at an example of surrealist art. You can click here, or you can watch my screen. Okay? And I'll give you an example. You said Dali earlier, I think, Sabrina.
No, it's Ksenia.
Oh, Ksenia said Dali. Oh, I didn't know who it was. Sorry. Here is an example. Let's see if I can make this big. Can you see that okay? So, what makes this picture surreal? Think about the elements we've talked about. Collage, unconscious. What makes it surreal?
The train in there. I forgot the name of this object.
It's a fireplace.
Yes, but it's not fireplace. It's without fire, I think. It's some kind of
Oh, you mean
design.
you mean the thing on top where you put objects is a mantle.
Yes.
Is that, if that's what you mean? There's a mantle. The inside is a hearth or fireplace, even if we don't use it as a fireplace, it's still called that, or it can be called a hearth. And then you've got a choo-choo train.
The train is not located in his natural place.
There you go.
Yeah.
At least I don't often see choo-choo trains coming out of my fireplace. Exactly. So part of what makes it surreal is that things are out of place. Out of place in some way. But it's not abstract. It's very concrete. These objects are very clear, but they're just somehow out of place. So you've got the train, the hearth, the clock. What do you think this has to do with the unconscious, or the unconscious mind? What do you think the painter was trying to say, or what do you think the painter was thinking or feeling? Is there something unconscious about this? I say that because surrealists were big believers in Sigmund Freud, and so one of his theories was the theory of the unconscious mind. And the paintings that they did, Dali and this guy, does anyone know who the artist here is? Do you recognize the artist?
No.
This is Marit. And let's put his name on the board. René, by the way. And well, in English.
I remember the image of a pipe.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. This is not a pipe painting. Let me put his name on the chat window. Great. And let me see. Do I have the name of the painting here? Oh, actually, that's his name there. Magritte. Time Transfixed is the name of the painting. Time Transfixed. Okay. Before I move on, what does this have to do with collage, or with exquisite corpse, or with unconscious? Do you think there's a relationship between those ideas and this? I should explain exquisite corpse a little better. It's a collage game. You create one part of the picture or the text, you pass it to another person who cannot see what you created, and they add a new picture, new text, or a new part. And you keep passing it around a circle until the very end, when you unfold the text or you unfold the picture, and then you have something new created from all the parts. That was the exquisite corpse game, and it could be played by painting, by drawing, or by writing. And the idea was to make something new out of old, dead ideas and images, to create something new. So, there's an idea. By the way, Ksenia, you mentioned Dali, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think the unconscious has to do with Dali's work? Do you think Dali used the unconscious to paint his paintings?
I think so, because it's very, I don't know how to say about his painting, crazy maybe for me.
Crazy.
And I think in conscious people, person couldn't write this art, only unconscious.
Dali was famous for saying many things about art, like Picasso. He was very famous for the things he said as well. Oh, I put the persistence of time as the persistence of memory. I'll show you one of his famous ones. Sorry, I had the wrong name here. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. But one of the famous things he said was, he always talked about himself in the third person. Dali called himself Dali. He said one time, people ask Dali, what is the meaning of Dali's paintings? But Dali is the person who knows the least about Dali's paintings. I know nothing about my art, because my art is the art of the unconscious. Let's see if we can zoom in here on the persistence of memory. There we go. This is one of his famous ones. So when you look at this, what comes to mind? What do you think of? You've got the clocks, the melting clocks, the timepiece with the ants. You've got a thing that looks kind of like a face. Hard to say. What does it mean to you? Luigi, what's your interpretation? What does this mean to you when you look at it?
Yes, it means to me like the time is relative. The time is not
fixed.
Represented by the clock. Yes, it's not fixed.
Very interesting. I think so too. Go ahead, Cassandra.
And I think it's our dreams in the night, because the face obviously sleeping, and where we are sleeping, we go somewhere, someplace like this, without time. Maybe it's beautiful scenery, maybe something else. For Dali, I think something like this. It's a mountain, lake.
Yeah, Dali said later on in his life, he said that he had a big epiphany, like this great idea, and he realized what the essential part of his art was supposed to be. And he realized it was the landscape of Catalonia, and it was the sun. He said his painting, it was something like that, I don't remember the exact quote, but he said one day he realized that it was the sun and the landscape that was the key to his paintings. He realized that that was the thing that made it timeless, or something like that. So the landscape has a kind of Catalan feel to it. The little mountains, the color of the sand or the dirt, kind of, something like that. But yeah, I like the other interpretation too, because the clocks are kind of melting, as if they're not at one particular hour, as if they're flexible. So, who knows? But it seems to talk about something which is not accessible by the conscious mind. Like, it seems to be very symbolic. The unconscious mind, whether it's real or not, who knows? But there's definitely part of the brain that doesn't really have language, doesn't have words. Part of the brain works with pictures. And it seems like this painting taps into that part of the brain. Well, the surrealists were experimenting with all that. And today we're going to read a story from one of the most interesting and one of the least talked about, one of the least known, probably because she was a woman and she's just less famous as a result. But I want you to think about these ideas as we read the story and as we try to understand what her story meant. And something else I was going to say to you before we read. Give me just a second here. I wanted just to tell you something biographical. Give me just a second. What was it? I might have to come back to it later. I don't think I have it in front of me. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. Let's do this. Let me see if I can just give you one more quick thing to think about before we start. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you one more painting before we read. This one is kind of important. Let me see if I can find the name. Just a second here. Here it is. It's going to take a second to get this on screen. Give me a second here. Sorry for the delay. It takes a second to get this stuff. Can you see? No, you can't. Hold on. I've got too many windows open. There we go. If you look at this painting, when it loads, it's loading. There we go. Okay. Take a look at this painting and tell me, what do you see? This is going to be an important image to keep in mind as we read the story. What do you see in this painting? Salvo, give me Savio, I'm sorry, I keep saying Salvo.
Yes.
Tell me
Yes,
a detail
teacher.
that you see.
So, I think in this picture we can see the purpose is the animal. We can see different kind of animal, horse, and I think the most different is the animal is inside of the house.
Yeah, what is that thing? Do you recognize that?
No, I can't recognize that.
Does
So
anyone...
it's this animal like uh, a lamb or not? I don't know.
Not a lamb. It's hard to
Yeah.
tell from the painting. Does anyone recognize that thing? It sounds like a human being laughing. That's what I can tell you.
Hyena?
It's a hyena.
Hyena.
That's right. There's a hyena. There's a horse you can see out the window. What do you see behind the woman's head? What is that thing on the wall? Can everyone see that?
It could be a horse.
Uh-huh. What kind of horse? Look at the thing that...
Race horse?
Not a racehorse, because it's got those things on its legs.
Yes, it's like a chair that you can sit in.
To play.
Yeah, something for kids. We call it a rocking horse. A rocking horse.
Rocking horse.
Ah, okay.
Something for kids to sit on and they rock back and forth. Okay.
And you can... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, you can compare the horse outside of the window. It's freedom outside. And inside, there's a rocking horse.
And it's fixed to the wall.
Yeah.
It's not free.
Yeah.
Exactly. That could be important. I don't know. It could be important. So
the child could be playing with rocking horse.
yeah, it could be important. Maybe the girl, it's not really a child, but maybe somehow it's important because the girl, maybe that was her childhood rocking horse. And yet there's this horse riding to freedom outside. Interesting. Well, think about those ideas and this image as we read the text, and at the end, we'll see if we can decide what the story means. Let's read together. So, Ms. Lara, why don't you start us off? The Debutant by Leonora Carrington. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. Can you see? Why don't you just give a...
Yes.
Go for it.
Yes. The Debutante. I don't know how to pronounce the Debutante.
Debutant.
When I was the Debutant.
Good.
When I was a debutant, I often went to the zoological garden, often acquainted with animals that with the young girls of my age. It was to escape from the world that I found myself each day at the zoo. The beast I knew best was a young hyena. Hyena. She knew me too. She was extremely intelligent. I taught her French, and in return, she taught me her language. We spent many pleasant hours in this way.
So, just repeat these words. Debutant.
Debutant. I'm going to write it because...
Zoological.
Zoological.
Acquainted.
Acquainted.
Once more.
Acquainted.
Good. The beast. The beast.
Beast.
And finally, hyena.
Hyena.
Okay, good. It was a little bit hard to hear you because your connection cut out, Laura. So I'm going to read the first paragraph
Yes.
again. Everyone, just listen for a second because the first paragraph is very important for the rest of the story. The debutante. When I was a debutante, I often went to the zoological garden. I went so often that I was better acquainted with the animals than with the young girls of my age. It was to escape from that world that I found myself each day at the zoo. The beast I knew best was a young hyena. She knew me too. She was extremely intelligent. I taught her French, and in return she taught me her language. We spent many pleasant hours that way. Luigi, keep going.
For the 1st of May, my mother had arranged a ball in my honor. For entire nights I suffered. I had always detested balls, above all those given in my own honor. On the morning of May 1st, 1934, very early, I went to visit the hyena. What a mess of shit, I told her. I must go to my ball this evening. You are lucky, she said. I would go happily. I do not know how to dance, but, after all, I could engage in conversation.
This story takes place on May 1st, 1934. Today is May 1st, 2015. What's special about May 1st?
The Labor Day
Yeah,
in Brazil.
exactly. I don't know yet why that's important, but for some reason May 1st seems to be important in the story. Does the girl want to go to the ball?
No,
She's not so happy about it. Does she associate with other people her age?
I don't think so.
Not really. She spends more time with animals at the zoo than she does with people her age. Okay. Her only friend appears to be this hyena, and she learned the language of the hyena. You're lucky. I would happily go, but I do not know how to dance. Who's saying that line, by the way? You're lucky. I would happily go, but I do not know how to dance. After all, I could engage in conversation. Who's saying that line?
The hyena.
The hyena is saying that line. Exactly. All right. So let's see if we can take this section. Who's next? Sabrina, why don't you take this one?
There will be many things to eat, said I. I have seen wagons loaded
Wagons.
loaded entirely with food come up to the house. And you complain? Replied the hyena with disgust. As for me, I eat only once a day, and what rubbish they stick me with. I had a bold idea. I almost laughed. You have only to go in my place. We do not look enough alike, otherwise I would gladly go, said the hyena, a little sad. Listen, said I. In the evening light, one does not see very well. If you were disguised a little,
Disguised.
no one would notice in the crowd. Besides, we are almost the same size. You are my only friend. I implore you.
What do you think she means by I implore you? Can you think of another way to say that?
I ask you, with emphasis.
Exactly. I ask you strongly. I implore you. Okay, so what's the scheme that they have decided on here, just to be clear?
The hyena want to go to the Uh, I believe it's a kind of party.
Exactly. It's a party for a debutante.
Yes, yes. And the girl doesn't want, so she asked the hyena to go to the party in her place.
Exactly. Let's be clear. She's a debutante, and the party is for a debutante, so what kind of party is this going to be? What's the purpose of the party?
When a girl
Yeah?
are going to have 15 years old.
Yeah, when a girl is 15 years old.
Is.
Mm-hmm. And what's the purpose? You're absolutely right. You got the right idea. But what's the fundamental purpose of the party? It's not just to go and dance.
To presentation to society.
Exactly. To present the special girl to society. Special because she's from a rich family. She's a debutante. Right? What was that, Lara? Sorry? Lara? What was that? Beg? I don't understand. Lara?
When you used to have the unmute the microphone, I used to click my button, so it takes me time.
Okay.
Now, when you ask about implore you.
Oh, okay, yeah. For implore, right,
but
right.
My connection is not working really well today.
See if you can leave and re-enter the Hangout.
So I sent it like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Okay, I'm going to try it.
Try it. Okay. Yes, implore you is I beg you. Exactly. Okay, and also I like the definition of the ball, to present a young woman of society, specifically about 15, to present her to the rest of society. There you go. All right. Let's see what happens. Who's next? I think, Jose, you haven't read, so I think you're next.
Okay. She reflected upon this sentiment. I knew that she wanted to accept. It is done, she said suddenly. It was very early. Not many keepers were about. Quickly, I opened the cage, and in a moment we were in the street. I took a taxi at the house. Everyone was in bed in my room. I brought out the gown and I was supposed to wear that evening. It was a little long, and the hyena walked with difficulty in my high-heeled shoes. I found some gloves to disguise her hands, which were too hairy to resemble mine. When the sunlight entered, she strolled around the room several times, walking more or less correctly. We were so very occupied that my mother, who came to tell me good morning, almost opened the door before the hyena could hide herself under my bed. There is a bad odor in my room, said my mother, opening the window. Before this evening you must take a perfume bath with my new salts.
There you go. You know, before you go to the ball, how you put the hyena in your dress. You know how these things go, right, Jose? Jose, I want you to repeat this word. This word, gown.
Gown.
Ow, gown.
Gown.
What is a gown? What's another name for a gown? Do you know?
Another mean for a gown, dress.
What?
Dress.
Dress, exactly. So I brought out my gown, my special fancy dress, exactly. And I want you to say this word again, disguise.
Disguise.
Good. And I think that was it. Oh, and one more. Yeah, last one was this word, occupied.
Occupied. Occupied.
Okay. So, class, what do you think? What's going to happen? She's dressing up the hyena in the dress. How do you think this is going to turn out, class? What do you think? How do you think it's going to turn out at the actual ball?
Funny.
What do you think is going to happen?
I believe everybody in the party knows the debutant. It's not a girl. It's a kind of animal.
Hairy, smelly animal. Yeah. A little hard to hide.
Yes, and the other, her mother talked about this in the room. Think about in the party.
It's going to be pretty hard to hide, so it's kind of hard to believe she's going to pull it off, but let's find out.
Yes.
We've got Laura back. Laura, how's it going now with your connection? Is it okay? Uh-oh, maybe Laura's connection is not great. Laura, can you hear us? Hello, hello?
Yes.
Who was that?
I think it's me.
Oh, no, I was asking Laura if she could hear us.
Oh,
But why don't you read the next part, because we're moving on. Go ahead, Savio. I think we're back
okay.
to you. If I missed anyone, just remind me, because I lost track of who was reading, but I think you're next.
Okay.
Go for it.
Agreed, said I. She did not stay long. I believe the odor was too strong for her. Do not be late for breakfast, she said, as she left the room. The greatest difficulty was to find a disguise for the hyena's face. For hours and hours we sought an answer. She rejected all of my proposals. At last, she said, I think I know a solution. You have a maid? Yes, I said, perplexed.
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 Not plexid. Careful. Perplexed.
Perplexed.
That's it. Very good. What does perplexed mean? Why was the girl perplexed, Savio?
Surprised.
Yeah, surprised, confused, like a mixture of the two. What do you think the hyena's plan is, Savio? Do you have a maid? Yes. What do you think the plan is?
I don't know, teacher. What's the plan? The story is going in different way, you know.
The plan, John, is to find a disguise for his face, no?
For her face.
For her face.
That in general, yeah. But then she has this idea about the maid. Well, let's find out. Yeah, go ahead.
The idea is to present the hyena as Leonora's maid.
Ah, okay. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. What's going on with Sabrina? Sabrina, you left too? Laura's having trouble connecting, and Sabrina just disappeared. Sabrina, come back. We're just getting started. Let's move on. Why don't you take it away, Luigi? Why don't you take this part here? Let's find out what happens.
Well, that's it. You ring for the maid, and when she enters, she will throw ourselves upon her and remove her face. I will hear her face this evening in place of my own. Sorry, I will wear her face this evening in place of my own. That's not practical. I said to her. She will probably die when she has no more face. Someone will surely find the corpse and we will go to prison. I am hungry enough to eat her, replied the hyena. And the bones? Those too, she said. Then it settled.
Keep going, last one.
Only if you agree to kill her before removing her face. It will be too uncomfortable otherwise.
There you go. So, now we have our solution. How is she going to hide the hyena?
Yes, she planned to eat the hyena. Sorry, to eat the maid, but before she will remove the maid's face and place it in the hyena's face.
Well,
And then
she's gonna kill the maid first, take off
Yeah.
her face, and put it on the hyena. You know, because she's polite. She doesn't want to rip off the face before they kill her, because it would be uncomfortable. So they're conscientious. That's the important thing. Okay, very good, very good. So let's see how this turns out. Let me just see. Okay, yeah, there we go. We have half a page until we reach the end. We're going to find out what happens next. So take it away. Who's next in the reading order? I think we're back to Jose. I think we're back to you.
Okay. Good. It's all right with me. I rang for Mary, the maid, with a certain nervousness. I would not have done if I did not detest dances so much. When Mary entered, I turned to the wall so as not to see. I admit that it was done quickly. A brief cry and it was over. While the hyena ate, I looked out the window. A few minutes later, she said, I cannot eat anymore. The 2 feet are left, but if you have a little bag, I will eat them later in the day.
If you have a little bag.
If you have a little bag, I will eat them later in the day. You will find in the wardrobe a bag embroidered with flowers delights. Remove the handkerchiefs inside it and take it. She did as an eye indicate. At the last, she said, turn around now and look because I am beautiful. Before the mirror, the hyena admired herself in Mary's face. She had eaten very carefully all around the face, so that what was left was just what was needed. Surely it's properly done, said I.
Okay, very good. By the way, just for pronunciation, say this word again. Bag.
Bag.
Careful, it's not a ch, but a g.
Okay, bag.
This word is embroidered.
Embroidered.
Exactly. And this word is the name of a pattern. So just very quickly, why don't we take a quick look at this pattern, fleur de lis, which looks like, it looks like this. See this? Oh no, sorry, you can't see it. Oh, my fault. Hold on a second. Let me get this back on screen. Oh, sorry, hold on. You will see it. I got too many windows open. It looks like this. That's a fleur de lis. Can you see it? So if you embroider it, you're using needle, thread, and fabric, and you are creating this design. You're embroidering this floral design, fleur de lis. Okay, very good, very good. And she ate very carefully and left exactly what was needed, just the maid's face. I'm starting to see the connection to May 1st and the date of the story. It seems to have something to do with a worker in the house. I'm not sure about this, but maybe. Okay, we're back to Savio.
Okay, teacher. So, okay. Toward evening, when the hyena was all dressed, she declared,
Oh, we're losing you, Savio.
"Very good mood, success
Oh,
this
we lost
evening."
you. We lost
Yes,
you. Sorry about that. We lost you. I heard toward the evening, and then we lost you. Uh-oh. Everyone is dropping out of the class. Oh my God, everyone's having connection problems today. What about you, Luigi? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You've got a perfect connection. Okay.
Toward evening, when the hyena was all dressed, she declared, "I am in a very good mood. I have the impression that I will be a great success this evening." When the music below had been heard for some time, I said to her, "Go now, and remember not to place yourself at my mother's side. She will surely know that it's not I. Otherwise, I know no one. Good luck." I embraced her as we parted, but she smelled very strong.
Okay. So, you know, this is just the normal thing you do when you're having a party in your honor. Now, we have only one paragraph left to find out the conclusion of this story. Give me a second here. Let me just put it on screen so you can see the whole thing. I'm going to read the very last paragraph because I want you just to think about these words, because it goes very quick. And Sabrina and Savio and Lara, if you're out there, try to come back in the class. I know there were some connection problems. Listen carefully. Night had fallen. Exhausted by the emotions of the day, I took a book and sat down by the open window. I remembered what I was reading, Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. It was perhaps an hour later that the first sign of misfortune announced itself. A bat entered through the window, emitting little cries. I am terribly afraid of bats. I hid behind a chair, my teeth chattering. Scarcely was I on my knees when the beating of the wings was drowned out by a great commotion at my door. My mother entered, pale with rage. "We are coming to seat ourselves at the table," she said, when the thing who was in your place rose and cried, "I smell a little strong, eh? Well, as for me, I do not eat cake." With these words she removed her face and ate it. A great leap, and she disappeared out the window. And that is the story of the debutante. Wow. Did it end the way you expected it to end?
No. No, it didn't.
What? I don't even know what to say about it. What do you think about this story, Luigi? Strange, huh?
Yeah, it's strange. It's a crazy story.
It is a crazy story. What do you think? Think about those ideas in the beginning. Automatic, unconscious, exquisite corpse, collage, surrealism. What do you think those ideas have to do with this story? Do you think they're related in any way? She was a member of the surrealist group, although women were not as famous as the men, for whatever reason we could only imagine. But she was associated with the surrealists. So do you think they have anything to do with the story?
Yes, I think it's all connected. The collage corpse, the unconscious, the hyena is a symbolic person in her unconscious. So,
Interesting.
she doesn't like to stay with other person. So the hyena, that's an animal, is better to stay with the people than her. It's a
So do you think the hyena represents? Do you think the hyena represents her in some way?
yes. It's in fact it represents her, and the hyena is better. Uh, it's a strange. It's a monster, and no one would like to stay with the hyena as the same way that she feel with herself. So she doesn't like to spend time with people. Instead, she liked to talk to animals. So the hyena is herself represented in the debutant's body.
Yeah, I can imagine how it would feel to be a 15-year-old girl having to, you know, especially when you don't have a lot of friends and you have to be dressed up and be paraded around in front of a group of people and show off. I could imagine that if you're not exactly, if you don't believe in that stuff, you probably feel a lot of pressure and you feel like you're this animal, like at the zoo. And in the story, she kind of is an animal, actually. So I think there's definitely something going on there along the lines that you said. I want to show you a quote, gentlemen. Since the ladies all left, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to show you a quote. So this is a quote about the story, a comment about the story. The importance of the hyena is that it represents part of every human person. The animal lust. The hyena has a terrific appetite. The dark sensuality. It smells strongly. Just hiding under the human face. So in reality, the hyena and the debutante are two sides of the same person. Human beings are nice and polite on the surface, but just wild beasts deep inside. That's one interpretation.
Fantastic.
If we imagine the debutante in that way, as half woman and half hyena, does that change our view of the story? So, what do you think? Jose, what do you think about that idea?
I think sometimes the persons the persons the persons has two faces.
Mm-hmm. Elaborate.
Yes.
Tell me more. Yes, I'm with you.
Sometimes the persons are the people are polite or impolite.
And another thing that comes to my mind is something like this. I'll just show you another picture here. I don't know if I can put it on the screen. Yeah, there we go. You'll see it in just a second. One more idea before we go.
Okay.
In mythology, in the mythology of ancient civilizations, you often have something a little bit like what we saw in the story. And here's a picture. Maybe I gotta make this a little bit smaller to fit on the screen. Give me a second. There you go. Can you see what this is, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
I see the face of a person and the body of an animal.
Yeah.
A lion,
maybe this is a lion. Yeah.
Yes.
So you've got things like the Minotaur, the Centaur, the Sphinx, and it's this kind of union of human beings and animals. So I'm just curious if you can think of some personality types or some prominent personalities, some people. If you had to, the girl in the story, she feels like a hyena. We can imagine. It's her alter ego. She kind of feels like a hyena. Can you think of other people or personalities or types of people that we can represent in this mythical way? Half beast, half human. For example, did anyone see the movie Black Swan? It's a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember that movie. I gotta look at the name of it. It's an Aronofsky film. I think it was Black Swan. Let's see, I'll look it up.
Yes, Black Swan.
Is it? Yeah. Did you see that movie?
No, I didn't, but I know it.
Go ahead. Say it again, Jose.
I didn't see this movie, John.
Here's the link. In the movie, there's these moments where the girl seems to be transforming into something, and it kind of comes to a point at the very end when she goes through this transformation at the very, very last scene of the movie. Some kind of a creature. So just kind of reminds me. It reminds me of saying something like a dancer might be, you might represent a dancer as half human and half swan. Can you think of other examples like that? For example, a politician might be represented how?
Yes, politician, yes.
How might we represent a politician? So the debutante feels like ungraceful, so she's half hyena. She's also young, right? So she's got lots of hormones. So there's this animal lust metaphor happening there as well. A dancer could be represented as maybe part swan, like in the movie Black Swan. What about a powerful politician? How might we represent a politician?
Because in front of the population, the politicians are very friendly, but inside the party, sometimes the politicians are very dangerous.
Right. You've got the idea of the Janus, the Roman coin that had two faces, and one face was a Caesar, and the other face was another face. So two faces, one to the public and one to private.
Yes, in private, the politician has another face.
All right. Well, we've got to stop there. But before I go, I do want you to look at this painting. This was a self-portrait painted by Leonore Carrington. So this is her painting of herself. And it has a strong resemblance to the story because there's a hyena. So what you can do is read the story again and compare the painting to the story. If you want to get a little bit of writing practice, write a short comparison. Tell me what you think the symbolism is of the story and the painting. How do they compare? How are they similar? How are they different? If you want to write about it, you can post it in the message window, and I'll be happy to correct it, send it back, and I'd love to hear your comments, too. Okay, so that's a little homework if you want to get a little extra practice, and we can also talk about it next Friday at the beginning of class. Okay, so keep that link to the story. Keep this link, I'll put in the chat window, keep this link to the picture, and I will be back Monday morning for pronunciation practice at 10, the next business class at 11 GMT, and of course, next Friday at 11 GMT for great short stories. Okay? Have a great weekend, a great May 1st Workers' Day, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye for now.
Take care,
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.